startling developments of the past few years has been the rise of the right-wing militia movement. Membership in so-called patriot groups has skyrocketed during the Obama presidency, confirming the predictions of the Department of Homeland Security, which warned back in 2009 that the reality of the first black president, combined with a recession, would re-energize the far right. Just how powerful this extreme far right really is became abundantly clear this spring when militia groups descended on the Bundy Ranch in Nevada for a standoff with federal agents. One of the groups that participated in the Bundy Ranch protest was the Oath Keepers. Founded in 2009, the Oath Keepers say they're a nonpartisan organization of current and former law enforcement officers who pledge to defend the Constitution. Southern Poverty Law Center, however, disagrees and says that the group is yet another example of the far-right militia movement that's sweeping the nation. So what's the real deal with the Oath Keepers? And also, what's the real deal with the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association? Joining me now to talk more about his group is Sheriff Richard Mack, member of the board of directors of Oath Keepers, and what's your title here?
Founder of
CSPOA, Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, yes. And the winner of a U.S. Supreme Court case that backed down the federal government over states' rights, basically.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Totally. First of all, tell me about the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association.
Well, we're a group of retired and current sheriffs and peace officers and public officials and citizens who simply want to return to the Constitution. We want it enforced, and we want sheriffs.
What does that mean?
We want sheriffs to tell the federal government, there's a few things you're not going to do here. Right. Chiefs of police, sheriffs, even peace officers, just say, hey, follow the Constitution, go along with the rules. You know, is it okay for the federal government to obey the law, the rule of law? For instance, Congress pretends that they at least will pretend and give tacit support of the Constitution and say, yeah, we have to follow the Bill of Rights. But they create bureaucracies that don't have to. The IRS, it makes its living, survival, on random, baseless audits. They just randomly pick people and audit them.
Would you rather they did it based on
And 95% of the time, I would rather that they not exist at all, because it's not free. You cannot have an IRS, and you cannot create a Gestapo organization like the IRS and say, we still have freedom in America.
You know, I would agree with you if we were talking about property tax.
No, but let me finish that point.
You can't own property, but if you're earning income...
if I'm earning income, I have to get monitored by the IRS.
We have passed a constitutional amendment.
But Tom, you don't get to violate the Constitution because we have
the Constitution authorizes the IRS.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The 16th Amendment says we have to have a monitoring organization that can check my personal financial transaction without any warrants, without any due process, without any probable cause. You just destroyed half the Bill of Rights right there, Tom.
How so?
Come on.
You know, yes, the 16th Amendment does say...
You have to have probable cause to come after me. If you are government, you have to have probable cause. You can't do spot inspections like the FDA does. You can't just walk on people's property like the EPA does, destroying people's land rights and destroying everything about that they own, like the Sackett family in Idaho. They have to sue the EPA to get them off their property, and the EPA just goes, well, we're going to fine you $75,000 a day because you're in violation. No hearings, no trials, no juries, no judges. Right. They just do it themselves. The EPA and the FDA really want to catch up to the IRS and be just like them. We say, follow the rules, follow the Constitution, or go home.
You know, your point about the IRS needing probable cause before they do an audit makes sense, actually.
It does. And that's what we're saying to any of them. You know, for a federal government to have these rules and then to say, but we can establish as many regulatory agencies whose policies now supersede the Bill of Rights. We don't agree with any of that. And you brought up the Bundy situation, you brought up Southern Poverty Law Center. Please don't act like the Southern Poverty Law Center has credibility. They don't. They lie about people all the time. They lie about me all the time. I actually sued them, and it got thrown out on a technicality because some judge thought we didn't file in time. But the Southern Poverty Law Center, you should have seen how underhanded they were in issuing me an apology and a retraction.
Are you Sheriff Mack, we've talked a number of times on the radio.
I really respect you.
Thank you, ditto. Do agree with this notion that the highest law enforcement officials in the country are the county sheriffs?
Of course.
Why?
Because I was one.
Yeah, but I mean, you know,
no, that's not.
What about the supremacy clause? Why isn't
the supremacy
an FBI
clause
agent?
says that the federal government has to follow the Constitution, and laws don't become supreme unless it's pursuant to the Constitution. We agree with that part.
Okay.
The supremacy clause does not grant carte blanche to the federal government. Just the opposite. The sheriff is the only elected law enforcement officer in the county. The FBI isn't elected, the IRS, any of those agencies, DEA, any of the law enforcement agencies, they're not elected.
But in most states, the state police are...
They're not elected either.
But the director of the state police is appointed by the governor, who is elected.
Well, you can get all sorts of bureaucrats in there, but they're still bureaucrats. And they answer to the governor, they don't answer to the people. We, the people, yeah, you keep getting those layers of bureaucracies, and pretty soon, you know, you can't find anybody. But the thing of it is, Tom, we the people run this government. They answer to us directly. The sheriff is the only one who gets direct power from the power source, we the people. Right. And he is the ultimate protector. If you look at the history of the sheriff, he is the ultimate protector, always has been. He's the conservator of the peace. So a sheriff
should be able to tell an FBI agent, get the hell out of here, get out of this house, get out of this
If the FBI is committing a crime and doing something wrong, you don't want that? Come on. I mean, my dad was an FBI. I've been around the FBI all my life. Yeah. And this is the thing. It's a check and balance. It's a buffer. You know, the Bundy situation, Sheriff Gillespie did a horrible job, hid behind his desk, did nothing. And yet the same situation with Sheriff Tony DeMeo in Nye County, Nevada, he stopped the BLM from taking the cattle from the Haig family. I'm just saying, even liberals like you, yeah. Democrats, liberals, or Republicans or conservatives, what kind of sheriff do you want in your community? One that says the federal government can come in and do anything they want, or one that says, I will watch them and I will check them? You make an
interesting case. We've got to wrap it up. The Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association.
Yep, CSPOA.org.
There you go, and Sheriff Richard Mack. Thank you so much for doing this.